right. I think we're live. Let me just double check. I haven't live streamed in like 2 years, so I need to figure out how this works.
I'm special. Look at that.
Actually, though, hold up. I'm checking.
Is there a chat that I can look at, or should you bring it up? I don't think I'm gonna be looking at the screen too much. Okay.
I can bring up the chat if people say. Okay, I think we are live. If not, it's fine. So yeah, I mean, I haven't done this in 2 years because I used to do weekly live streams during the bear in 2022, and I would like set up a presentation, do it, but everyone's so mad because it's the bear, so I would get like shit on every single week,
Remember
and
the
I would just
farm
not
that
have a great time.
showed a year and a half ago? It went to 0.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of I mean, it's crypto, right? Everything that people shows us ends up going to 0 at some point, especially alts. But anyways, of course, today's the ETF day. We're not really going to try to talk too much about short-term price action, but I guess that can kind of tie into what we're farming right now. The first thing I do want to talk about is some of the few airdrops that we've gone in the past week or so. So let me just share my screen here. And by the way, I can hear your Discord. If you can mute that.
Let me mute that. That could be muted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the AVAIL airdrop. I was kind of excited about this a couple months ago. I staked Matic. I used L2s. I thought I got a pretty decent chunk, or a decent sized airdrop. But it seems like, I mean, according to, let's see, AVO, the price is in the gutters, like 1.6, 1.7 billion FDV, when it was previously trading at, like, let's say 6 billion. Of course, I guess VC coins going down, not helping. But I do want to ask you this question. So this is a Korean exchange called BitDum. Weird name here. So this is AVAIL to Korean won, and I think 1 USD is 1.4 Korean won. So I think AVAIL is trading at like what, like 150 on this Korean exchange?
Like $1.40, $1.50 right now.
Like, why is this happening? And because you're Korean, like, are you taking advantage of this?
Yeah. So this is like an extreme version of low float. There's not a lot of tokens in like BitDum. There's not a lot of people who got the airdrops, and not a lot of people sending it in. So people just keep on buying, and the price doesn't go down because all the exchanges, you can't withdraw from exchanges to BitDum because all the withdrawals are blocked out. So I think there's a really low float, low circulating supply. There's not a lot of Koreans who can deposit, and yeah, it's great. I got a 32,000 AVAIL airdrop from having like 90,000 L2 transactions in 2023, and I sent it, and I made a mistake which made me send too many tokens at once. And BitDum, Korean exchanges have a policy where if you send more than $1,000, you have to KYC to get your deposits. So I KYC'd, waited, saw this thing trade at 60 cents, which is like a 4x premium. I was like, oh my God, like I should have sold. Why did I make this mistake? I should have sent 100 separate transactions. And this thing just happened to hit at the Pico top at like $2.3. So I sold my entire stack of 32,000 AVAIL at 70K, a little more. And I was like, great. Great day. Yeah, so
yeah, and and literally on Bybit it's trading at like 90% lower, at like 15 cents. So I guess there's pros to being Asian.
There's pros to being Korean. I remember sometimes like I go out drinking with my crypto friends, and then I think this was in Hong Kong, and I was drinking with them, and I needed a passport to drink because I lost my wallet when I was in Hong Kong last time. And we were just talking about crypto and like the Korean premium, and I just like pulled out my passport from my pocket, and I was like, "This is power. This is money." And real action.
Yeah, like when you're traveling, the Japanese passport is the most powerful, I think. But I guess if you're in crypto, the Korean passport is the most powerful. Yeah, and Mr. Taking Normal, yeah. We were actually late because Mr. Yield Farming here, Andy, was too busy selling AVAIL.
I'm still refreshing that. So, yeah.
Yeah, so if you hear any clicking, he might be buying and selling AVAIL. What do you think about this? Like, AVAIL would be the future roll apps. Why would you sell?
Well, it could be the future of roll-ups, but I could sell at $1 right now, or above $1 and buy it 15 cents and buy it in like 3 seconds.
Right.
So I'm not too concerned. I do think it'll go higher than the current price because I think like when this thing was first like announced, I think market makers were like pretty happy to buy it at like 40 cents, or like so there's some like very heavy OTC bid at 40 cents. this is also when TIA was like $12, so you kind of need to adjust it a little bit lower. But yeah,
Right.
I think there are like some people that I don't know who they are, but they're pretty excited about this thing. So I'm also thinking about that a little bit. And yeah,
Yeah. And if you look at the layer zero chart, I feel like all these airdrops are just launching so low, like Blast below 2 billion, Zero traded below 3 billion, which was their most recent round. And now layer zero is at $5. So I think you can make a case that if any good project, right, quote unquote good project launches at a pretty low val, like maybe that's an opportunity for degens to just get a decent price. Like, would you rather, buy layer zero at 3 billion locked up for 4 years, or would you rather buy that like $3 or $4, just liquid? So maybe there's a paradigm, well, not even a paradigm shift, but there's a preference for liquid markets over private markets, which hopefully is a trend that we see continue going forward. You have any thoughts on like airdrop tokens like launching too low, and are there like trade sites where you can buy these things?
well, I don't think it's low. I think it's not high enough is a better way of putting it. But I do think it's a good trend. When people were talking about zero, like I did think it was a $5 to $6 coin, and it's good to see it in this range. If it breaks out higher, good for them. If it goes lower, sucks. But yeah, I bought some zero actually, held it, and I'm pretty happy selling here. I should probably sell it today, but yeah, I have like a couple of thousand zero, a little more, and good time to sell the airdrop. And I think it's good
Yeah,
because it lets the people who farmed get out at a price they're happy at, which is like $4-3, and let the people who trust in the tech to make money. And this is very different from some other coins that just went down only, right? And this is much
yeah,
healthier. I like this. Crypto is more fun when more than six people make money.
yeah. And speaking of more than 6 people making money, I made some money from Ether.fi, the most recent airdrop. How much Ether.fi did you get? Like I got two.
How'd you get
Actually,
two?
I
Crazy.
got way more. No. I mean, this is just like one of my wallets, but like I think I put like, or I own like 0.2 or 0.1 or whatever Ether.fi ETH, and I
Okay.
literally got two Ether.fi. And then literally like the Twitter algo is on point because under it, it's like the McDonald's app of like this
McDonald's. You
$5
can buy
meal
one of
deal.
those.
I know I can literally buy a nice meal. Now that Ether.fi, what's it trading at? It's like 250 or something. Oh yeah, it's just trading at like 257. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's been going up. Actually, like I think I made that like kind of sarcastic tweet about Ether.fi sending their team tokens to Binance, and I was like, they're not dumping on you. They're just giving you more time to short at a higher price. And then the price went above when I made that tweet. And then I saw one of the Ether.fi like co-founders like my tweet this morning. I was like, oh no, he's flexing on me. Yeah, so I think I got like
he's
yeah, I think I got 250,000 tokens, a little more. I I I made a lot of money in the season one when there was like very kind to Sybils. I did it to Sybil Eigenlayer, but I kind of hit big on the Ether.fi part. Those wallets gave me a little bit. The big wallets that I had were vested for quite a bit, and I think I was kind of like people were kind of like unhappy about that. And Ether.fi, very kind to them actually, kind of like reflected people's like complaints and updated their vesting schedule so that it's a month shorter now, and you get the second unlock like tomorrow or the day after. So yeah, it's great. I feel pretty, and when I look at Ether.fi, I do think that it's pretty. I'd say it's like Lindy, like the fact that it's on Elevate as like 2 billion TVL in there, and the
yeah.
fact that like now we consider it basically as like Steve already is like pretty indicative of like how successful the project is. So uh, I don't like the vesting. I don't like that the price went up after I shorted, but here we are, and like I'm gonna have to keep on using it, so can't complain forever. That's kind of like my stance on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can, I saw you tweet this. You're just you just keep depositing to Binance to like
Yeah,
sell these tokens.
yeah. The joke is that wasn't even me like on my Sybil accounts. That is me buying on Arbitrum because all the small wallets who got the airdrop were dumping on Arbitrum for ETH because it's easier to do that than to like pay Ethereum gas to claim. So just trading like
Yeah.
a whole percent below on Arbitrum for like 4 hours. So I was just buying it, sending it to Binance, and arbing for like 3 hours straight. I did not make that much money. I took that screenshot because it's funny. I think I made like 10K. Not too much, but still good money.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'm noticing here is that like Ether.fi was, I mean, I think you were shorting it from earlier, right? So I don't think you lost
Yeah,
that
like
much money, or if
$4.
you lost any money at all. But it's like so many people were shorting this because oh my god, the airdrop's gonna happen, everyone's gonna sell, and then the date of the airdrop, ever since the date of the airdrop, it's just been trending up, and I feel like maybe some of these alts, they're becoming consensus shorts. Do you think it's getting dangerous to short some of these tokens, especially as you have teams like because teams can always like change the vesting, right? Like AltLayer was like, hey, we're gonna do a 6-month pause, and then maybe this pumps the token to short term, squeezing shorts. Do you think about this at all, or do you just try to short things that you think are overvalued?
I think if you're like actively trading, you do need to think about the fact that these teams are sufficiently rich in all cases and don't need to like actually get these tokens to sell, especially if they like a lot of these tokens, like teams had their tokens like 3-4 months ago. If they wanted to hedge, they could have hedged, basically cashed out enough money to live their entire lifetimes. They don't really care that much, and now like the success of their project is also more important than getting these tokens today. And if you have like an airdrop that you're going to get, I think it's perfectly fine to short it to hedge if you like if the price right now. Like if you farmed it and you're like, yeah, if I sell at this price, put in the hedge, I will lock in 200% APR. Good for you. You should completely do that. Like that's a good call. But if you're just thinking there's going to be inflation tomorrow or in 2 weeks and I need to sell and the funding turns negative, I feel like right now the vibes are pretty good. People feel like they have a lot of money and they're happy to squeeze everything with the negative funding rate.
Yeah,
So
the vibes
yeah,
are
I
pretty
just
good.
a little bit more careful.
Yeah, the vibes are okay. I think if I look at, let's see, like there's been a lot of volatility with ETH. There's like let me just go to this. It's like the 5-minute chart. I mean, this is like just a bunch of chop, right? Just people getting whipsawed. Um, like, with the ETH ETF, like does that kind of change how you think about airdrop farming? Are you gonna just denominate more in ETH? Are you more optimistic future airdrops, or like how do you think about the metas going forward?
I always nominate an ETH because it's just easier for me to use EVM. That's where I completely like operate on all the time. I'm not too sure if it changes like the landscape of how I think about ETH. Honestly, like I actually have like a pretty big ETH long, and then and then I saw the funding rates on Hyperliquid. And I was like, this is juicy. So I actually started logging more on Binance and shorting on Hyperliquid, and I had to add a lot of margin on both sides. I thought there'd be a lot of volatility today, but there's like zero volatility. Nothing's changing. So I think people just like are accepting ETH as like a asset. It's nice it's getting acceptance. I'm not too sure if it's getting too much attention, so that's not good. Uh, I just have I have faith that ETH will just hit new all-time highs sometime this cycle. So I'm not thinking like $7,000 ETH, $10,000 ETH, whatever. Like at $5,000, I'll be pretty happy. So I'm just unfazed, just hoping ETH doesn't go below $3,000 because that's when I start feeling sad.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah,
really sad too. I feel like there's like this collective agreement within the ETH community that ETH is going to underperform most coins, but it should eventually hit all-time highs, and that's kind of
that's
everyone's mindset.
yeah. We don't dream big enough. I think we need more delusional Ethereum people saying 10K is FUD, 40K, 50K, 60K, but people are not like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I think for alts to go, like I feel like so many degens hold ETH that if and once ETH breaks all-time highs, that's when we will see a real world effect. Um, and I guess this follow-up question from this audience, Mr. 0xGmbH. I guess one of the better ways to farm with ETH right now is, I guess, bridging to L2s, like Scroll or Symbiotic or Eigenlayer. Do you have any thoughts on, actually, let's talk about this first, Symbiotic versus Eigenlayer, because Eigenlayer has 16 billion TVL, so generating yield on that much capital is going to be pretty hard, whereas Symbiotic has 1.2. I mean, still a lot of capital, but maybe it's better to farm this. Are you farming any of these? I mean, I know you're farming LRTs through Ether.fi, Eigenlayer, but have you looked into Symbiotic, and what's your strategy for this particular farm?
I deposited like 100 ETH to Symbiotic on day one, like when it first launched, and I haven't added too much exposure. How I look at it is that, how do I look at it? I think it's good. I think Symbiotic is a very capable team, and I think it'll see some like a decent bit of success. I think it's a better farm than Eigenlayer, like especially for not like a degen farmer, because Symbiotic, because it hasn't had a token like yet, whereas Eigenlayer, like they haven't had their token trading, but they already had an airdrop, and it's very diluted and everything. So if you're looking for like upside on ETH and like for a pretty low risk, I think Symbiotic's definitely better. Yeah, I think if you had like extra cash and didn't care too much about the restaking risk, right now it's like a deposit contract, so I don't think there's too much risk. I think Symbiotic's a good choice.
Yeah, I agree. And there's like nothing. I mean, like Eigenlayer has so much capital in it, right? And I think Caesar talked about this in one of his podcasts, where when a protocol takes in this much capital, they're effectively creating debt, right? Because now they have to, or now the market expects, some yield on $16 billion.
On that entire,
Yeah, and it's really, really hard. Whereas I guess with Symbiotic, it's like 1.2, which, I mean, that's still a lot of capital, but I guess it's a lot easier to generate yield on that than 16 billion. Have you looked at the things like Mellow Finance or the Super Symbiotic LRT Vault? Do you think these, I guess, vault wrappers on top is decent, or do you think this is like what are they even trying to achieve here, right? Like Mellow, like more yield, like more points, or would you rather just go with the base layer with Symbiotic?
I'd usually say depositing for something else is slightly more interesting, because even if like Mellow does nothing, say it does like literally nothing and it never has a token, whatever, it's like you lose nothing from having a fungible token that you can trade, send to a different wallet, whatever, earn points, earn quote unquote second points, like second layer points. Like you're losing literally nothing. So I'm never like against this, especially if it's a simple deposit contract like this. For Symbiotic, I'm a little less sure, because I think there was a case in Eigenlayer where 3 months after they had their initial airdrop of untransferable tokens, people still don't know what the exact criteria was. There's definitely they disclosed that there was a bonus to people who just stake directly to Eigenlayer instead of going for LRTs. So it's possible to imagine that Symbiotic may do the same. So if you don't have any intentions to use these LRT Symbiotic restaking tokens in DeFi, like again, to like kind of like Ponzi it up to like leverage or do like other things, I think it's a very valid option to just simply deposit the Symbiotic. I think it's not a bad deal. I think the marginal yield that you're gonna get from like Mellow or Ether.fi season 3 with like a couple more points is probably like less than 10% combined at best. Maybe Mellow does like a huge hit, but like I know like you can run the numbers and it's gonna be like 2 or 3% on Ether.fi and even less on Renzo. And you can only imagine that Mellow will probably like 5%. So is it worth like going through the second layer of possible risk and the possible chance that you're going to get less Symbiotic tokens for 5%, for 7%? I'm not too sure. I think that depends on your preference. I'm always going to opt into this because I need to bridge this to L2, get 20% more, 10% more, 20x leverage it on like something like Sturdy Finance or Aave or something very degen, and keep on stacking the yields. But I'm seeing like a comment pop up like mitosis, like I actually don't know how to pronounce that thing, but mitosis, like I know
mitosis.
like mitosis. So stuff like that. Like there's many ways to stack your yields, and if you want to do that, then you need the LRT. If you don't, then you may as well just deposit.
Yeah, and this is just I have some ETH in the Super Symbiotic LRT. Like I'm not really expecting much. I guess one of the benefits is that if Symbiotic caps are like full, then like the Ether.fi team will like just snipe it at launch. But I think even on Symbiotic, I don't have the tab open right now, but the Coinbase ETH vault is open. So like I'm still not sure like why that vault's not filled. I feel like the market would fill it by now. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Eigenlayer Symbiotic, I mean, it's okay, right? I mean, you just park ETH in there for minimal risk, and maybe you get like 10-15% APY. Sure, if you're bullish ETH, might as well. That's kind of how I view it. Okay, so let me just check the chat here. Mitosis, yada yada yada. Are you okay? Mr. Iverson asked, are you looking into like Blackwing and Raya? I think they're both like perp platforms. Blackwing is built on Initia. Raya, I think it's on Arbitrum or something. I guess people are kind of FOMOing these perp dexes because Hyperliquid printed so well. But like, what do you think about things like Blackwing and Raya?
So I actually went to the initial office today, and I was talking to him about Blackwing, and I
Nice.
didn't get like any specific answers, but he was like, "Yeah, Blackwings, Initia aligned, and if you want," and it's like, yeah, and I was like, okay, like I guess if I really want some Initia exposure, this is the best I can do. And if you like Initia, I think Blackwing's an option. If I didn't even notice a perps text until like about 6 hours ago when I talked to him, but yeah, I think it's good. I think I can't say I think it's good because I don't know anything about it, but I think it's an option, and
Yeah.
I might touch it because I'm kind of tired of these points. I have a lot of points in these things that I farm, and I could diversify my portfolio of points, and maybe it could be in some Blackwing points or initial social credit score, whatever flies.
Yeah, I'm so tired of points, but I guess we have to continue farming them.
Yeah.
And I think that people want real yield. So let's talk about some real yield. This Mr. Ben here, or Ben Gothard, nice mustache. What are you guys doing with stables for highest SAFU yield, SAFU yield? And I guess I have the screen share, right? Best stablecoin APRs right now, where to find them. We were actually talking about this offline or online between Andy and I. And I think one of the things that's interesting, which I didn't even know about, was PayPal USD on Camino Finance on Solana. I think the caps are filled right now, but PayPal, they're paying $500,000 of PYUSD per week to anyone that deposits here. Like,
the cap is 200
are you in this? And
space.
Oh, there you go. Okay, there's still 44 mil of space, and you're being paid 16% APY with PYUSD.
You can borrow against this as well.
First of all, like,
crazy.
Yeah, like first of all, like, why is PayPal doing this? Like, are they just trying to build on-chain liquidity? And, like, do they have that much money? Or do they have like $2 million a month of like a budget to like just print? Like, does this even make sense for them?
Well, I feel like they want to get a headline out because they did announce that they passed like 500 million TVL, and they're like whatever like biggest stablecoin, and this apparently like this bumped their TVL by like 30%. So it's a great marketing stunt. I cannot imagine that they're going to spend $26 million in a year to do this. I assume this is going to run for like a month or two, but it's great. You can borrow PYUSD and then like borrow Solana against it at like 50% LTV. And the liquidation threshold is like 80%. So you're not being liquidated for a while. So you can like deposit PYUSD, get paid like 16%, and borrow Solana, whatever you want to do, and go like do some decent things. Yeah,
That's
I found out.
And then
I should do this, but I don't like using Solana, so I'm passing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's switching costs using non-EVM. You can also LP PYUSD USDC for 13%, but they're only allocating like 20K a week, so it's not that great. I guess it's much simpler to just lend out your PYUSD. I guess you do only mostly farm just EVM stuff, huh?
Yeah, I don't even like going to Aptos. Like I tried using Aptos for a day, and then I just like did not use it. So
yeah,
we're huge EVM maxi. I do want to like kind of like widen my views, and I do want to try Solana DeFi, but I haven't really like done it yet. Maybe this PYUSD thing, if it like stays this way for a bit, I definitely want to look into it because it's pretty profitable. I haven't been able to get like super liquid yields for a while, and this is very liquid. So yeah, I'll look into this.
Yeah, you can literally dump on PayPal, right? Like PayPal's giving us free money, and you can just dump on them. That's probably what most people are doing.
I'm like I'm like a very official contracted worker by their smart contracts. Let's look at that. Yeah,
but like, do you even want to hold PYUSD though? I feel like if these yields run out, people are just going to dump it for like USDC or something.
I have nothing to do with it until I like bridge out my entire stacks. All I can do is deposit more PYUSD. Kind of sounds like a Ponzi. All I can do with the rewards is deposit more. But I trust PayPal. I don't think they're gonna like rug their stablecoin in the next like 3 weeks. So yeah, I think this is good. I think this is good.
Yeah, and even Go with, I think you can stake Go on mainnet, and you can get paid like, I don't think it was 30%. I think it's like 20%. But I guess you have to incur the mainnet fees. Yeah, I guess there's like a bunch of stablecoin wars going on right now. One thing I'm farming is Gyroscope, which we tweeted about this morning. I think a lot of people are also excited for like usual money, which I think is like some real world asset play. Are you farming these? I know people really like this. I think the TVL hit like 100 million or something. I guess
150, maybe 200 by now. It's doing fine. Yeah.
yeah. Are you farming this or not?
I'm not. I'm not the biggest fan
Oops.
of like. I'm not the biggest fan of stablecoin wrappers because this is like a wrapper of Fortunify, and I don't think there's a lot of merit in making like a treasury bill stablecoin wrapper. If you're like a stablecoin like T-bill service like USDC or USDT, good for you. Like that's cool. If you're a spin-off that's like less major and but are still succeeding like Fortunify and like USDY, also cool. You made something cool. But if you wrap your USDY and make a new stablecoin product and call it a protocol, I'm not too sure if there's like a lot of merit in like selling that. So I'm not too bullish on say like usual for this reason. I think I'm more interested in things like that are slightly different. Say like I think Fortunify is cool because it's more original. I think it has its own product. I think I'm kind of bullish on like Athena because it's also trying its new thing. And I think crypto is a great place to experiment, but I don't think it's a great place to like put like a new logo on something that already exists and say it's bullish. So that's kind of like my stance on this.
Yeah, it's just like more points, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if teams want to give us free tokens to dump, then that's great. But yields are compressing across the board, so you have to be really selective nowadays. But anyways, I don't know. Let me look at the chat. I don't know if anyone's saying anything. What's up? What's up? I didn't even know I got an AVAIL airdrop. It's worth kind of dust. So hopefully you're based in Korea, so you can dump it on BitHum. Some good UI on. Jedi swap. I hate using Starknet. It's like one of the worst user experiences I've ever had. So I don't care. I honestly don't care. I think that ecosystem is pretty dead. Let's see. I know. That's
deposit once and forget. They'll pay you out for a while. I think if you like Starknet or like for some reason you like Starknet, I think it's a good reason to. It's not too bad, but I would never do it, and I would never tell someone to go on Starknet.
Yeah. Okay. So I think if people can keep asking questions if they're decent, I'll pull them up. But I do want to try out this new segment that was requested by the audience. It's called
Zero
or Hero. Yay! Okay. Next time I'll try to have some music playing. I don't really know how to do this. This is my first time, and I'm holding this rake in one hand, so it's kind of hard. But anyways, this idea, right, the Zero Hero, I guess it's kind of similar to like Pasta of the Week, where I do at Steady Lads, the other podcast I do, where we kind of like just talk about something funny that we saw on the timeline. But because this is more of like a DeFi focused content or like channel and live stream, maybe we'll talk about something that I saw on the timeline that I thought is either going to zero, right, just complete scam, or a hero, as in it's amazing. So maybe this week's hero is the Solana ecosystem with PayPal USD, right? It's literally giving us free money. But I think, I want to talk about this one, some on-chain crime or so many casualties were created. Have you looked into this trunk coin?
No, I heard about this. So I am familiar with what this is. So I'm surprised that it passed the dollar to begin with, because wasn't Trunk like the stable coin?
Yeah, it was like the stablecoin Ponzi on Binance Smart Chain. And then they got hacked, and then they migrated to Solana. So wait, do you want me to explain what happened here?
There's a link and rug the price, right?
Yeah, so I have no idea why Solend did this. I guess technically this was an isolated market. So if this particular market incurred bad debt, it only affects this and not the entire platform. But basically, for whatever reason, they enabled Trunk as collateral with an LTV of 75%. They lowered it to 0.1 now because it like rugged, but it was 75%. And I think a bunch of bad actors or malicious actors, let's say, just started levering, right? So like you trunk as collateral, borrow USDC, buy trunk and kind of loop it. And I think yesterday or the day before, the APR to supply USDC was like 300% because the borrow rates were like 500%. And the platform itself, they were kind of, shilling it. It's like, oh my God, like supply APR is so high.
APR.
I know it's free money, guys. Deposit into our platform. And then I think they paid some like random YouTubers. I mean, like obviously, like I don't know who this guy is, but they probably paid that guy. They probably paid this guy. They probably paid a bunch of people to show it, and then it pumped a lot, and then I think 1 or 2 people sold, and then it's just kind of liquidated to the downside, like minus 90% or whatever. So it is what it is, I guess. But if your deposit, I mean, if anyone like bought this token, then maybe they deserve to lose money. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't want to victim shame.
It's dicey. I think we're also at the part of the cycle where people do come and become a little naive. So it's tragic that this happened. I'm familiar with this already happening once last year. I think it was like around this time last year where not Trunk, but the non-stablecoin part of it, the other part of the Ponzi, also had a lending market on BSC, and it was offering like 90% APY, but the coin was going up like 20% every single day, and then it dropped like 50% overnight. So I've seen this happen last year, just to a much smaller degree. So I'm like not super like surprised that this happened. So when I heard this, I was like, all right, like I've been in this rodeo. This happened like in 2023. What makes it not happen in 2024? It got hacked in 2022. So who knows? Maybe in 2025 they'll make their own L2 and then they'll borrow against it and get liquidated again. Like anything could happen.
Yeah, this is why it's so scammy. It's a permissionless system for economic inclusion to help the community accumulate wealth. Sustainable and permissionless global economic engine. Yeah, I mean, they have all these partners, not even partners, but yeah, it's a rug. It's a rug. Elephant money. But I just saw this and I was like, yeah, like this is going to zero. Maybe Solend, right? I feel like Solend like really lost relevance after like Camino and MarginFi came out. But I guess maybe they were desperate to boost TBL, so they listed this thing, and then.
Yeah, given this doesn't happen, I feel like it's not too bad of an idea. The Ponzi has thick liquidity; it's going up. The community looks strong on paper. You offer market towards it, and then like works out until it doesn't. It's like a life of a turkey. And
it works until it doesn't. I mean, that's the story of every Ponzi, sir.
So people send me when I make money on DeFi. They're like, it's up only until it's gone. And I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things. I think people chased high yields and kind of got fucked. I kind of do feel bad for the people who deposited in this kind of like not exactly knowing. Hope they can get their money out. I'm not sure if that'll happen or not, but
Yeah, so that's 1-0. I honestly couldn't find a hero like this week. I mean, maybe PayPal is a hero, but the other zero that I found was this. Lots of zeros. So this is Hector DAO. So DCF God is like popular RFV or right. He tries to buy things below backing, and tries to RFV as in like reading the treasury, and I guess. Hector, I think they were on Phantom, right? Phantom, it's like some own work that just like pumped a lot. And then they had like $100 million at the Pico top of the market ish. And then I guess they, they paid themselves, they, paid some sponsors, they got hacked. And then, they were like, okay, like let's actually unwind. And this was a year ago. Treasury value then was 60 million. And then they hired some legal counsel, yada yada yada, lost more money to exploits.
They're crazy.
And now the redemption value is like under 6 million, and apparently you have the KYC to get a penny, which kind of sucks. And I guess the biggest winner here is the lawyers, right? The lawyers, they always get to charge these teams like millions of dollars. It's like even like the FTX, John Ray or something, right? That guy made a bunch of money. And I guess, yeah, I mean, these teams are not that competent. But yeah, I mean, it's dangerous. Yeah, I guess the point is it's dangerous to play these on-chain games and to try to trust anon people to like redeem the treasury. Probably not a great idea. And I guess you have to believe that most of these tokens are just like scams. So it's not worth it basically to like try to play these games, I think.
Yeah, with every possible 3x, free 3x in your mind, there are reasons why it's a free 3x and why people aren't buying it up. And in crypto, you do get rewarded for being very brave very often. So it's nice to be brave. It's nice to kind of like gamble every once in a while and things that you think will work out. But yeah, sometimes you get these zeros and it sucks. We're in the part of the cycle where we're kind of like deal with the like kind of like unfortunate zeros, the things that go to zero, and like the aftermath of last cycle scams like these. So we're going to see a lot of zeros, but hopefully, moving forward, we'll be seeing a lot of heroes. Starting with
hopefully, yeah, hopefully ETH becomes a hero. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about price action, but like for me, like I'll talk about myself. It's like I don't really expect ETH to. I mean, first of all, like I don't think ETH will hit new highs against Bitcoin this cycle. I think that's pretty unlikely. But I just choose to denominate in ETH because there's like so many ways to earn yield, right? It's like a way to bridge to various ecosystems, stake whatever, right? Get tokens. I know you also hold mostly ETH. Like, what's your expectation of ETH? Do you think it's just like it might go up a little and then you're happy you sell and then you just like stablecoin farm into retirement? Is that kind of how you think about it?
So it's supposed to be a cryptocurrency to be an asset, but right now I'm not too sure about that. I'm just psyopsing myself constantly, just saying like, hey, ETH is like a stable coin of the EVM system. It's meant to not go up a lot, and telling myself all of these like cope words so I don't feel too bad about holding ETH. But maybe it'll start acting like a cryptocurrency in the bull market, start going up a lot. I don't need it to go up. Again, I just need it to not go down, so I'm not too concerned.
Me too, dude. Yeah. Just don't go down, please.
Upside, I will never complain if it makes me rich.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think that way. It's just like, yeah, like it's whatever. If it goes up, cool. I don't think we see 10K ETH this cycle, honestly. I'm just like more holding ETH because, I mean, today's the ETF day, right? So I feel like for the markets to go up, ETH has to go up. So people look for ETH betas, but I just think ETH is the best ETH beta in a way. I mean, okay, like that's not really how it works.
If you need ETH beta, just leverage more ETH.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I think about it right now. I've tried many times to long ETH beta. It just doesn't work. I think it's a losing game, especially for mid curves like me. I'm not sure how you can be in the space for 2+ years and not be more bullish on ETH BTC. I mean, I guess that's how. I mean, yeah, I agree, but I don't know. I think also the longer you're in the space, the more jaded you get towards, I guess, the crypto ecosystem. Let's see. These are some good questions, actually. Honestly, I had no expectations because literally 2 years ago, like I used to do these live streams, and then all I got was hate, and I just stopped because it was no longer fun, right? It's like I'm not getting paid for this shit. Like I'm like this shit's not fun. But this is kind of fun. Like 40 minutes in, there's like 100 viewers, and maybe this is worth doing. So if you like it, just like this video, because if I don't get positive reinforcement,
we need positive reinforcement.
We might not do this. Yeah, just please. Let's see. I'm looking at the questions. Yada yada yada. Okay, maybe this is the last question. Do you do any LPing at all? Like, do you use like concentrated liquidity managers like Beefy, or I forget the other one?
Algebra, Gamma.
Yeah, Algebra. Yeah, Gamma. Do you do any LPing, or like is it really not worth, I guess, the risk and the headspace for you?
So the last time I lost money in DeFi or probably the only time I lost money in a DeFi exploit that wasn't like me being like absolutely stupid was me using an automated liquidity manager. I'm on my computer all day, so I don't feel the need to like use it to manage my positions. If you like doing that, like if you need a more passive strategy, I think it's an option. I think BP is fine. I don't like the fact that the range is a little too wide, because if you're going to use a range that wide, it's not like too productive. I think the yield on Beefy, the auto compounding one, is like 20% APR because the range is like way too wide. So at that point, you may as well just be like LPing like full range ETH/USDT on Airdrop, and you'll probably going to get the same returns. Otherwise, I think it's an option. I'm not too big of a fan of it.
Got it. Okay. Actually, last question, because this guy asked this question, like, will cook? And I think you're also farming meth, right? Mental ETH. And I think there was a post around like, I think like puff holders, you get like 5% of the supply, and then like whatever that means. Like, you know, I guess you're farming scroll, Ether.fi, Mantle ETH. What's your expectation for meth? Like, do you think cook will cook, or are you just gonna dump it?
It might cook. I'm still gonna sell when I first get the tokens. There's vesting bags that come like 3 and 6 months later, anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna dump first and think about it later. Kind of how I go about it.
Yeah, that's how a farmer thinks. Gamma has been a disaster for the human race. I think last year or the year before, I bought Gamma. I made like 2K and I sold. I was like, dude, like, why am I long this token? But I think they got like arbitrage incentives or something. I'm like, okay, like TVL is gonna go up. I'm gonna buy this token. And then I'm like a week later, I was like, wait, like, why am I doing this to myself? So I just sold. Okay, I think that's about it. I think, what does this guy say? Chunk. Okay, best OP. Content creators don't use it, and I'm wondering why. I mean, I think we're just like not being paid enough to use it, you know, like as in terms of yield. It's, I think even if like Symbiotic ends up, yeah, like Symbiotic at the end of the day might pay us like 10% additional APY on our ETH, and maybe OP pays us 10% in ETH on like AVAIL or something. But at least with Symbiotic, there's at least like the hope that we're gonna get something like big, right? And like people come to crypto for the hopium. So I think people are more enticed by points programs because at least it could be good, even though it probably won't be good. And I think that's why points are more attractive than real yield, despite people like complaining about points for like the past couple months.
Yeah.
Okay, we're 45 minutes in. I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks.
It's a good talk, and we do need to save the comments so we can have a podcast next week. So here we are. I need to go back to dumping on Koreans.
Yeah, okay, he's gonna go back to dumping on Koreans, and I'm gonna go back to crying. Okay, thanks guys. Have a good one.
Good talk. Talk later, Taiki.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the content. If you want more free content around crypto, DeFi, and on-chain farming, please check out the link in the description below for our free newsletter. Also, I run a premium community called the Humble Farmer Army, so if you're interested in that, I will also put the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye-bye.